Welcome to another exciting episode of the Thrive Tribe podcast with Jarvis Hall, where we share real stories and real results using the 4 pillars of fitness: movement, nutrition, mobility, and recovery. Today, I am excited to welcome Amanda to our conversation today, a remarkable individual whose journey through fitness, music, and personal growth has taken her around the world and back to her roots in Memphis. Amanda's story begins in her childhood, where she grew up in a supportive family that nurtured her early dreams. These formative years spent in the vibrant environment of Memphis laid the groundwork for an incredible path she's later on embarked on. Amanda attended Central High School in Memphis, where her experiences shaped her perspective and fueled her ambitions. It was during these years that she began to develop a passion for fitness, which became a cornerstone of her life, even as she ventured into the fast-paced world of the music industry. Touring with music artists around the globe presented unique challenges, but Amanda's dedication to maintaining her fitness journey amidst a demanding schedule is a testament of her resilience and discipline. Join us for an inspiring conversation with Amanda as we explore her journey from childhood to global tours and from the personal challenges to personal triumphs. Her insights and experiences are sure to provide a valuable takeaway for anyone looking to succeed in music, fitness, and beyond. Welcome to the Thrive Tribe.
Thank you. Who wrote that? I need to call you to write my bio next time.
That's how I view you. You are amazing.
Oh my God, thank you.
Welcome. I'm so excited about this. When we met, we instantly bonded.
Yes.
And I always want to let the people know, just to introduce who you are. Can you give your exact title in the music industry, just so that we can be clear on who you are specifically?
Okay. I'm an audio engineer, and I specialize in front of house mixing, which is basically the sound person at concerts.
Okay.
To put it in layman's terms.
Okay. Awesome.
Yes.
And so, starting here in Memphis, like, what was your natural talent, and how did you get into that and start developing that?
My natural talent is singing.
Okay. What's your voice part?
Soprano.
Okay. I'm like tenor too. So, okay. Did you do All West?
I did All West.
Okay.
All State from 9th grade. Senior year.
Okay.
I didn't do it in middle school, but when I got to 9th grade, I was going to Overton.
Okay.
I went to Overton.
Okay.
And, that's the performing arts school.
With the Kappa program?
Yes.
Okay.
I had to audition to get into Overton and all this stuff. And it's funny because my mama says that's when she learned I could sing. Like, for real. But at Overton, it was, if you're in the Kappa program, then you are going out for All West and All State. Like, that's not even a question.
Okay.
You don't have the option. So that's what started me. And I left Overton for the 10th grade through when I graduated and went to Central.
Okay. So what caused the transfer in schools?
I didn't really like Overton.
Okay, no, that's okay. Yeah. Okay. No, it's interesting because
they were a little too serious. It's like, okay. And it just manifested in people being mean. And as an adult, I realized that's one of my things. Like, I don't like to see people get mistreated, and don't mistreat me. Like, just don't mistreat another human being. There's no reason for that.
Right.
But they were just mean and just took it a little too. I'm like, we only 14.
Right.
Like.
They serious, yeah.
And actually, what kind of sent it over the top was All West, and was the All West auditions.
And was this your 9th grade year?
Yep.
Okay.
In ninth grade, you have the option to do middle school or the high school, right?
Yeah.
So I opted to do high school because I really didn't like the music for the middle school. So I auditioned and ended up making 5th chair and beat all of the juniors and seniors in Overton's choir.
Your first time auditioning?
My first time auditioning in ninth for the high school.
Okay.
And again, I had never really done it before, so I didn't know the big deal. I'm like, I was happy and proud of myself, you know, but like it
just wasn't resonating. Yeah.
Yeah, so they were pissed. Like, how she blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, we on the same team, right? Like, I didn't know. I understand it's a competition, but what's that about?
Exactly.
So from then I was like, I don't want to do this. Or I don't want to be here.
Okay.
So my mama, being the mama that she is, was like, you going to Central because they got the next best choir. Okay. And she's been nurturing my musical talents since I can remember.
Since then. Yeah. Okay. So you auditioned in 9th grade, got 5th chair. Did you audition in 10th grade at Overton? And how did you place there? No, so you started Central 10th grade. Oh, so you transfer after freshman year. Okay, so when you transition over to Central, you obviously auditioned. How did you place, and how was the environment there?
I'm trying to remember, and I'm saying this with humility. Okay. But I don't remember ever having anything below 5th chair. So that's why I prefaced it. But that's why I know it's a gift, you know, because I never really was about that, you know. But the environment was kind of the same because Central, at that time, Central and Overton choirs were rivals. Okay. So you went from... So I went from the rival to the right. So they all like, because in my 9th grade year, Central and Overton were at the same competition in Orlando, where they have all the choir competitions, and Central ended up winning. And that was the first time Overton had won competitions, right? And then Central won. So it was this big, you know, it was a thing. Yeah. So I get to Central that year after, and everybody's like, wow, you know. But I ended up making friends for life. Okay, nice. And it continues through your junior and senior year. Yeah. Okay, so I want to go back to when you said, my mom, this is when she found out or realized I could sing. What was it before that? Were you just singing for your own entertainment? Were you trying to figure it out? How was it before? Well, I had been taking piano lessons since I was like 3 or 4 or something. Okay. So that was the talent that, you know, she's like, okay, she's musically in talent. Okay. Let's get a piano, keep her piano lessons. And then I started, you know how in middle school you got to choose an elective, and I chose choir. Okay. So that's when I learned I could sing. Okay. In 7th grade. And so then it just was, that's why I wanted to go to Overton, because I knew I just wanted to sing and like nurtured it. What middle school were you at? Cologne? Snowden. Oh, Snowden. Okay. So you're a feeder school going to, okay, so it makes sense. Right. Okay. And so when you started getting, like, I guess, accolades as far as the 5th chair, she was kind of convinced. Now, is your mom musically inclined? No, neither one of my parents. Okay, are they married? Okay, so how was it like growing up in your household? It was great. You have siblings? I do. My siblings are way older than me. My sister is 15 years older than me. Okay. My brother is 9 years older than me. Okay. So my sister say I'm everybody's baby. I was like, and then you kind of got like the only child feeling too, right? Yeah, but I mean that's the thing too. Like my mama she knows her kids. She's a mama bear, like true mama bear. So all of us feel like the only child. Oh, nice. And what's your mom's sign? Scorpio. November 3rd. And what's your daddy? February 18th. Was that Aquarius or Pisces? I think that's Pisces. Okay, yeah. So. And okay, you're a Cancer. Team Cancer, don't play. What are some specific moments in your childhood, other than school and singing, that really just stick out to you that you hold on to? That's a good question. Thank you. Going to church, and because my mom is a huge like community activist too. Like she's being the outreach director at the church has made her like this she is Miss Westwood. Okay.
Nice.
Okay.
Okay.
It's funny you asked that. One memory I do remember is standing on, I don't know, I think maybe Westwood's high school. I don't know. She organized this huge parade for cutting violence down in Westwood, and I mean it was like, I mean it probably was like a Thanksgiving parade. Like,
Wow.
all her brainchild, like she organized it, brought the people, all this, and I remember standing somewhere on a hill and seeing her like lead the parade. It was crazy.
No, that is activism at its core.
Yeah.
And what's your dad personality like? Is he
Total opposite.
Okay. Okay.
I'm more like my daddy too.
Okay.
That's another reason why I kind of stopped singing, because the performance aspect of it was like, I don't like this.
Right. You just
I
like
just
the
wanna
art
sing.
of it. Yeah, but the performing is a whole nother animal, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to definitely get into that a little bit later. So how did you begin knowing that, well, first off, did you know at this age, because you were good at this, you were getting results, you enjoyed like music and the arts, did you know that you were going to have a career? And was this the career goal as a child?
Yes and no.
Okay.
I had, they always say representation matters in your environment and stuff. I just wanted to be a teacher, because my sister was a teacher. She taught at my elementary school while I was there.
Wow.
So it was like, I guess I'll be a teacher when I grow up, But then when I started, getting into the arts and singing and stuff, it was like, okay, let's pursue this. However, that I had no idea how it looked.
Okay.
Because when I started thinking about college, I was looking at this other college that wasn't really going to be good for me. So somehow I got connected with this lady named Lena McLean.
Okay.
She was vocal coach Chaka Khan and other like Chicago singers.
Okay.
The only thing I had in mind when I was going to college was I wanted to go to Chicago. I didn't want to go to any Tennessee school like everybody else.
Okay.
Like, I don't know why Chicago's in my head, Jarvis. Like, honestly, it's just a testament of just God moving, doing what he needs to do. But I got connected with Lena McLean, and she was like, you don't need to go to Columbia. You need to go to Roosevelt because of your voice and the voice type you have, and you need to nurture that. And it was operatic singing. So that's literally just how it went. Like, I was just in high school. I liked singing. I knew you could go to school for it.
Okay.
Let me audition, go to school for it. And then when I get there, I figure that out.
Okay.
Like, it literally was no.
So let's
I ain't really had no plan.
Yeah, so let's start there. So you were in school. When did you start hitting your stride, and then, like upon graduating, making career moves?
High school or
college. I'm sorry, because college is in Chicago, right? We're in Chicago, and you met. What's the vocal coach name?
Lena McLean.
Yeah, you met Lena. And so this is why you were in college, right?
I met her right before going to. I met her when I was thinking about colleges.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
so she kind of seed planted like a lot. And so, what school did you end up getting accepted in?
Roosevelt University.
Roosevelt, and then you completed that program, right? So, upon like getting in that program, what was that like, and how did you navigate post college?
Getting to the program was it was like Overton on steroids.
Wow. He was like this again.
I was like, oh, this is just the culture of this. Got it. And so it was like, okay. Mental note, basically. It just went through school. It was a conservatory, which is all 4 years you focus on your major.
Wow.
Like, I only had to take 2 semesters of English.
Oh, nice.
For my first 2 semesters. And then after that, it is everything geared towards learning how to be a performing opera singer.
Wow.
Yeah. So within that, I had to take language classes like a semester of German, a semester of Italian, and a semester of French. Had to go over to the theater side and take acting classes and movement classes, and that was when I learned I had an accent.
That southern drawl, don't play.
Or it was crazy. I had to say a line with the word ask, right? And I was saying ax.
Oh my goodness.
I didn't know.
Oh, right.
And she said, say that again. Ax. Ask. I said, oh. Got it. Like, I'm not mad at it. No. Thank you.
I get that. I had a similar situation. I was a tour guide, and I was doing the tour like in the my preceptor or my trainer was next to me, and we were transitioning, and I was like, "Hey, we're gonna make this next block," and she said, "Wait a minute, what is making a block?" I was like, "She's like, we're gonna circle the block," and so I guess. She said, "Is that a Memphis thing?" And I was like, "I guess it is," but no, the accent is definitely Memphis.
Right.
Don't play. I love it. So that was your okay.
Yeah. So it was things like that that just kind of, okay, you open. And I was, now that I think about it too, I'm like, thank you, God, I left. I wanted to come here for a school. Chicago is like super cultural. It's so many Black opera singers there. It's like, we actually do this? Oh, because I only knew what Kathleen Battle and like all those older women, exactly. And it was just like, oh, we do have, it's a huge community of Black opera singers in Chicago. Wow. And then it just, it's a huge theater city, so it opens your eyes to that type of thing. And Music City, musicians come out of Chicago are like the top musicians. Wow. So it was just, it was good to be there to open my eyes to kind of be a preface, I guess, to the life I have now, to know how to, transition and faster paced places or environments and things like that, And then the competition part of being a singer and being with other singers and, dealing with being a Black opera singer and them, if you sing an aria well, it's a shock. Good for you. And if you sing a spiritual well, that's easy for you. That's your music, But it was just that thing. I'm like, okay. Lord, you got to tell me what to do because I can't do this for the rest of my life. I don't want to do this. And when you are studying voice, the trajectory is you go to undergrad, you go to grad, then you start auditioning. Okay. And I said, I am not doing this in grad school. I'm going to get my degree because my mama like, you get a degree. I'm going to finish. And again, figure it out. I did do some auditioning, and I made a few friends, other Black singers, and one of them, Adrian Dunn, he wrote a hip hop opera. Wow. And I was like one of the leads in that. So that became a thing post graduation. It was like, oh, okay, we'll do this. I'll, make my way through this show and then figure out what else I kind of fit more into. Okay. And then, doing that, I was like, well, do I want to act? So I took a few acting classes.
Right. So you said you was going to the theater anyway in undergrad, right?
Yep. So. And I had to take acting classes and things like that, like for 3 semesters. So I was like, oh, well, maybe this will. 20-something trying to figure it out. Yeah. I took a few acting classes and went to, it's this improv place in Chicago, very popular, where like any comedian you probably know went through there. It's called Second City.
Oh, Second City. Okay.
So, my mama being the mama she is, I'm like, I think I want to act. Can you pay for these classes? Because I'm broke. I want to take these classes. And all right. She'll do it. But that was just kind of how it was after graduating. And then I was like, okay, I need some money. So I had to get a job. And the last job I had was being an admissions advisor for an online university. So basically, working in a call center. And I cry every day, John. I cry going to work every day. I call my mom like, I can't do this. And she's a baby boomer, so it's like, it's a job. I'm like, you don't understand. So I end up getting fired actually because I left 5 minutes early on one day within your probation period. And I said, thank you. And it's protocol in corporate America. You can't go back up and get your stuff because they don't know what you're going to do if you get fired. They were like, well, we got to have somebody get you. Okay, thank you. I do not want to come back in here anyway. And so after that, I just was, trying to figure it out.
Okay.
I had a friend that went to Roosevelt with me that went to SAE in Atlanta. Okay. And he was doing fairly well, was interning and working at studios in Atlanta and stuff like that.
And what is SAE?
School of Audio Engineering.
Okay.
And so I hit him up. I was like, what was your experience at SAE? What's going on? Think about maybe, because I started messing around GarageBand on my laptop. It's like, I knew I wanted to do music. I just didn't know what. Okay. Or how. But it wasn't going to be singing. Okay. So I started messing around GarageBand and stuff. And so I was like, well, maybe I could go to school to learn how to do this better. Like learn this software or be a producer. Exactly. Basically. And
did your friend lived in Atlanta too? Okay.
And I got family in Atlanta, so it was like, we would go to Atlanta every year for Thanksgiving or something like that. So like my family's there. And so I literally just took a leap of faith, me, my mama, and my godmother, who's deceased now, went and visited SAE. And it was pretty cool. Like it's a school literally of studios. They got 2 bigger studios if you want to record a band with, at that time, large format consoles, which is just the analog console mixing board. And then they had like 4 suites, like production suites that had the keyboard, Pro Tools, Logic on the computer. You could set up a microphone, record yourself, or just make beats, do your projects. Like literally just school to go and play for a person like me that I just knew nothing about. So I went and visited. I was like, okay. Literally took a leap of faith and was like, well, I'm going to go. I don't know nothing about audio. I don't know nothing about none of this. But I'm going to go see what happens. And the rest is history.
Wow. So, We're living in Atlanta, so moving from Chicago and moving to Atlanta, how was that like coming back to the South and culturally? I know you were in school, you had things going on, but how was that for you? Because you said environment played a big role as far as your productivity. So
it was different, but I kind of got the best of both worlds because I was living with my cousin who lived like out in the suburbs. Okay. And the school was downtown. Okay. So I kind of, got to feel a good balance. Okay. Especially living with family and stuff like that. It was just a good balance of not being too much like, okay, you getting distracted versus, being able to go to school and, on your break you walk around downtown or hang out with friends sometimes. Yeah.
Okay, so it's actually like, because it's like like you said, it feeds both like your familiar side and then you get to adventure as well. So while you're in school and SAE, when did you start seeing success? While you were in school, or is when you completed that program you started to get a stride? Because you went in not knowing anything. When did you realize, okay, I'm actually good at this, and things start to move?
Well, when I finished SAE, they were at a point where they were trying to get accredited, and they needed people on staff with bachelor degrees. And I was like, I need a job. I have a bachelor's degree. Y'all want to hire me?
Yeah.
And they did.
Okay.
So I started working there
as
a it was called a lab assistant at the time, which you sat in the office and maintained the gear, because as a student you can rent out microphones, everything, anything you need to have a recording session. We housed it and maintained the inventory and stuff, and rented it out to the students for their sessions. So that was the job. And you had to, since we had for real consoles, you had to give tests, skills tests on the consoles to the students.
Nice.
And so that's when I was like, oh, okay, this is cool. I know this. And then as an employee, you kind of could use the studios if you wanted to.
Yeah.
And so I started recording people, and they were like, okay, well, I want to record my album. Let's do it. And it's like, oh, okay, this is cool. I like this. I like doing this. Because it was kind of producing. Yeah. Basically. Right. And then as a singer, I could coach singers through their sessions, or even rappers, use your breath this way, or, approach it this way, or that's hard to say because you're doing it like this. Try this, vocal producing, basically. Right. So this I was like, oh, okay, let's figure it out.
So you were just managing the sound on whatever project they had. Okay. And so
I was recording it.
You were recording it. So who was the first artist that it really clicked with, and you was just like, okay, I did my big one on that one?
Well, being young and being a singer and a fan of just good music, I ended up running into Nikki Gilbert, the lead singer of Brownstone. And I don't know I had gone to a studio trying to get an internship, and she was teaching voice lessons there. Wow. So I signed up for voice lessons so I can get in with the studio.
Backdoor it. Don't play.
And then I just told her what I do, and she learned. She was like, okay, let's go. I record. Yeah, I want to record. I want to get back to doing things. Yeah. So we started working together. Fast forward, I had recorded something. It ended up being the theme song of the R&B Diva show she had.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, oh.
That's amazing. Yeah.
So I was like, oh, okay. This is how this works. But also, this is how this works. Yeah. On the business side of things, too, because I had no idea what I was doing. Recording for a TV show. Yeah. So that's when I was like, okay, started being more serious about it. Because things started happening that were not in my favor, and I saw that I'm being taken advantage of.
Can you just give us context on that?
Yeah, I wouldn't get paid. I'd have to chasing money, and it's like, but I did this work, and I was heavily involved, and it's only $300.
Okay. Wow.
But that type of stuff started happening, and understanding what a producer is versus I'm just here recording. I'm vocal producing you. Right. That needs to be acknowledged at least.
Right. Exactly. No, seriously. No, I get it.
So that, when I referenced earlier my Atlanta days, that's what Atlanta taught me a lot, especially in the recording industry. And that also is kind of what made me kind of get into doing live sound. Okay. Because one, I don't think I like being stationary, because I'm tired of, I had been doing internship. I was still working, but also doing internships. Okay.
And it's a studio work as well. Okay.
Yeah, I was still working at the school and doing internships at studios. Okay. And I would have to be at that studio 18 hours, and I'm like, y'all when you start making money, it's only $10 an hour or something.
That's a lot of manpower.
Right. And people yelling at you, and people aren't really nice. Right. They're And that was when I learned too, as far as being behind the scenes and stuff, you know, like it's not always good to meet people, you know, your heroes, as they say, or, you know, people you're fans of, because it's just like, I still want to like your music.
Right. But dealing with you in person is a different experience. Yeah, I get it. No, it's okay.
But even people on the come up, they, you know, be acting a certain. It's like you got like one placement. Relax. You can learn my name. Like.
Yeah. Wow. And so you said you were transitioning to the live show. So how did that get started?
Well, because I needed some money and being an intern and the one SAE job wasn't paying enough. So my classmate, actually, who is my dear friend to this day, we authored a Berkeley course together. He had an interview with the church, and I had to drive him. So when he got there, he was like, just come on an interview with me. Like, they can, like, both of us can do this. And I was like, this your interview. I can't just, that's going to look crazy for both of us, you know? Like, that's not professional. He's like, no, just come in. So I did it, and they ended up hiring both of us. Literally. And this was like 2010.
Okay.
So this is when, like, the contemporary Christian music was kind of getting more popular in churches. Okay. And churches were trying to transition into the format that it is now, basically.
Yeah, because
like
that was
an
around
elevation.
a year like God in Me with Mary came out around that time. Yeah.
And then on, like, you know, like the CCM side, you know, it's like the elevation worship or what's that? Hillsong. Hillsong was really starting to blow up at that time. So some churches were trying to move to that format. So this was a Presbyterian church in Atlanta, in Buckhead, and they had just started kind of their more contemporary church across the street from their main, like, traditional service. Right. And they needed someone to mix the more contemporary, because the guy, like, literally, like, God's timing is perfect. The guy that was mixing at the time, he was about to move out of state, and they needed someone. So here come me and DJ, like, we're audio people. Y'all need some help? Yeah. And literally, like, that was my assignment, mixing the more, like, contemporary service, and just went. And that's when I, like, started mixing there. That's when I was like, oh, I want to do, this is it. This is what I want to do.
You found it. You found it. From singing to mixing for a live production. Right. Yeah.
And in those churches, I mean, now it is full on production. Then, you know, it was just starting to figure out how to do it in the big scheme that it is now. So we were, you know, it was ran like a production. We would meet every morning. All the musicians were, like, working musicians and songwriters. Okay. Like, a couple of them would drive in from Nashville. The drummer was the drummer for Sheryl Crow. Like, it was that type of thing, right? Yeah. It was just preparing me, you know, for that. And we would meet Sunday, go down the service, like, this your part. You're on video, you're on switcher, like, learn about production. Wow. Right there in the church. Wow. Just randomly.
Yeah.
You know, not random.
Yeah, but it's just all of your past experiences kind of culminating, kind of came to a head at this point. And so you like, oh, I'm clicking with it. I really like this, you know? So having success at the church and being introduced to this, did you leave there and started touring, or did you find an artist that was touring? How did that switch?
I actually went to work on a cruise ship from the church. Okay. He said, okay.
Yeah, because I'm learning as we go. I was like, okay, we went from, because I didn't even know the church. And you went from the church to a cruise ship. Okay.
I went from doing live sound at church, because it's just always been something in me. Like, there's got to be more to this. Like, I like this. I want to be better at it. It's got to be more to it. Like, I know church ain't the last level of this, you know? Yeah. So it's just, okay, let's find it, you know, just to be better and grow. And I was I just hated working at SAE. No, like no shade to them, but it was just me. You know, I just was.
Right.
It was like an office job, and this not for me.
You said you didn't like being stationary, and it was.
I am not an office job person. I cannot do that. So while I was at SAE, I applied to work on the cruise ship, but they didn't hit me till like 5 months later. Okay. So I completely forgot that I applied for this job to be the audio tech on a ship. That was another thing. All I knew was I had a friend on a Disney ship, but as a singer. Okay. So I was like, oh, they must have sound people or something. Okay. So I applied. 5 months later, they hit me, and I was working at another school then. Okay. I started working at another audio school, and I was like, I'm there.
So was the pay better on the cruise ship versus what you had previously been earning?
Yes.
Okay, and it was a little bit more consistent. Because how long is the cruise? Like, were you?
Well, with Carnival, you have to commit to 6 months.
Okay.
Yeah. So you live on a ship for 6 months. And you get paid it's it's kind of a corporate job, but just that department, I guess, because you can retire. Like when I was on there, it was a dancer. I think she was like 34, 35, and it was retiring.
Okay. She must have started when she was 18.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Probably. Okay. Right, probably right after university or something, and retired at 30 and was able to start her new life.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Cruise ship, and then I started touring.
Okay. So, how did that transition happen?
I know I keep saying this, but my life has just been God.
Yeah. And that's what we hear to really unpack that.
Yeah, I had a couple friends from Memphis that I went to high school with that
went to Central or Overton?
Central.
Okay.
And one was the musical director for Janelle Monáe, and the other was her tour and production manager.
Wow.
And so I was on my break from the ship. I had 2 weeks left to go on my next contract. No, 2 months left to go on my next contract. And I think I maybe had 2 more weeks on my apartment lease. And I had put it in my mind that when I get home from the ship, on my break, I'm going to call Jeff, that was her tour and production manager, and just talk to him and see what I need to do to start touring. That was in my mind, okay, I got my resume together, all that, and was preparing to call him. And he ended up calling me. Wow. Saying Janelle wants a female on the crew, and she wants her in this position. Can you do it? I know you never toured before, can you do it? And I'm like, what? So he ended up calling me, and I'm like, what? She want what? This is literally, I said, Jeff, I was literally preparing myself to call you. Yeah. Email with my resume sent already before we even, I'm like, cool, hang up, hit send.
Wow.
Literally.
Wow.
And that's how it happened.
Wow. So being on tour with Janelle Monáe, so tell me about where did you go? Where were you at? About these new countries, and was protocol the same in different countries when you toured? Did you have to learn
it is different.
Okay.
What I did learn, everybody learns English. Americans are the only ones who don't learn another language. Everybody knows English. I was like, oh, got it. I was grateful for my language classes in college.
Right, they came back, yeah.
At least I could read, something, the things, and, say thank you, but, and just learning just simple day-to-day things, the plug sockets, the electricity isn't the same. You can't plug in your power surge in your hotel. You're gonna blow it up.
Yeah, the voltage is different. Yeah,
right. Just and being with the artists like Janelle, you got to be aware how you present yourself, and you represent her. You you know, you're not taking on a whole identity, but you just have to be aware that, you know, like if you I worked at Feds Kinko's too. If you got the uniform on, then that's what you represent. You know, really focusing on the fact that you are at work. This is a job. You know, it's being on tour is very fun. Okay. Yeah. Being in the music industry is cool. You know, you go to parties for meetings, you know, or let's go have a drink to talk about work, or, you know, it's just very loose. There's no HR, which is bad. But it's like, it's fun, and you can forget we at work.
Wow.
Until something happens, then it's like, oh, shoot.
We at work. Right.
Am I going to get fired? You know? But you're not thinking about that when you're trying to take shots.
Is she... Was Janelle, like, very hands-on with y'all? Like, or was she just kind of like, this is what I, you know, these are my, you know, expectations, and we're going to...
There's like a core group with Wonderland.
Okay.
It's called Wonderland. And they make decisions together. They create together.
Nice.
And it is certain people that you know, communicate more about, you know, what needs to happen when it gets to a certain point. But they all create together and come up with the vision and how they want things to go and look and be presented, the vibe, like all the way down to like vibe. Okay. You know, so, you know, when they create, they literally, you know, it's like method acting. You know, have people really get into
research and
just get into their character, live as their character. That's how they are.
Wow.
You know, when they get into their creative space and creating an album and creating the show and how they want it to look. So it's more so a collective.
Wow, that's nice, and that's really good exposure for your first touring act. And from there, so how long were you on tour with Janelle?
I started with her in 2013.
Okay. And
the last tour I did was 2019, and then the pandemic happened.
Okay.
But after that, we still, like, when we got back going, it was 2021.
Okay. Were you working with her when Ladia Yates was working with her?
I don't remember that name.
Okay, because she's a dancer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's a dancer, so that's a whole other side. Look at me, I'm just throwing stuff out. She's from Memphis, so that's the reason why I was like.
Oh, she probably did some stuff with her, and I just, you know.
Yeah.
That's the thing too, with people don't like the work day. You know, I've literally gone, we did a summer tour, a summer European tour. I didn't see Janelle until she was on stage.
Wow. Okay.
I'm like,
your work is...
That's why we here. Like,
wow.
You know, sometimes it just ends up like that. You know, and sometimes on like domestic tours, she knows it's kind of like this, so she'll plan a day where we go bowling or something.
Wow.
You know, like that. Or end of tour, we'll have a end of tour dinner.
Yeah.
Things like that. But you could go like a month on tour and not even.
Wow.
Yeah. I mixed Summer Walker for a little while. She probably know who I am.
Oh my gosh. Yes, I love Summer. Who else you work with?
I'm fine with that though.
Okay, no, that's cool. Yeah. No, I got it. I get it. I definitely get it. I want to still love your music. But yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah.
Who else have you worked with?
Ella May. This Canadian group, Tegan and Sarah. John Baptiste.
Nice. He is a musical genius.
It is crazy watching him work.
Wow.
Like, it's really got some really cool moments with him too. When he had that whole Grammy era, I was with him. So
wow.
oh
my gosh.
Yeah, did the Grammys with him and a bunch of other just different things. It was like, oh.
Wow.
Who else I've mixed? Jasmine Sullivan. I've mixed Nipsey Hussle was actually my intro to LA when I moved to LA. I got the opportunity to, my homeboy had called me and was like, I can't do this, can you do this? And I was like, yeah, sure. He didn't tell me, you know. I'm like, cool, okay. So I go to I get to rehearsals. It's Nipsey Hussle, and it's literally preparing for his album release show.
Wow.
Right. So, and I had moved to LA January 2018. This was February.
Wow.
I'm like, well, welcome to LA.
Wow.
Yep. My first, like, one of my first shows moved there. My first show moving to LA was Olivia Newton-John.
And this is from Atlanta to LA. Okay.
And that was an experience because I'm a huge Grease fan. And I'm like, oh my God.
Wow.
Olivia Newton-John. My first gig. Okay. Thank you, LA. Like, I made the right move.
Yeah.
And then did Nipsey's album release show. And that was with this band, this like production group called 1500. And they have it probably everything on your playlist they produced. Somebody connected to them produced. Super cool guys, but they are a band too. Okay. They were the band on the Jay-Z and Beyonce like Carter tour. Like,
oh wow.
And Herb, the Renaissance MD. And working with them provided me a huge opportunity to be on this show called Pensato's Place. And Dave Pensato is like a huge mixing engineer. Okay. And he has a show like this, basically. Like, he was doing this before. And, and really it started with him just showing his tricks and sharing his knowledge of mixing, because he's mixed everybody's records. Like, wow. Everybody. And so being on Pensato's Place is like, for engineers and producers, is like being on Oprah.
Wow. Oh, nice.
And through the Nipsey show, just doing what I do, I ended up meeting Dave's business partner and his co-host on the show. He was like, and there are not a lot of women who do this. Yeah, no, especially black women. Right. So wow. He was like, "What? No, we gotta have you on the show." Oh. I was like, "What? I'm gonna be on Pensato's Place?" Yes. That was, people always like, "Well, what celebrity you met?" Or what's your huge job? Like, having a Pensato's Place episode is huge. That was it for me.
Yeah, I have arrived.
Right. I'm a real engineer.
Yes. Stamp that.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so how do you, going to the fitness. How do you stay in shape and so snatched with these tours and moving around? Like, how do you do that? Like, what are some insights of staying healthy and keeping your health a priority?
It's not easy. Okay. But being fit is just something, you just gotta make your mind up about it.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, that's just what it is. And it helps to have others that have the same mindset. So one of Janelle's background singers, and at the time both of her background singers actually, and the bass player, we were all cool, and so we would have different challenges with each other. Okay, we just gonna eat fruit and vegetables for a week while we on tour, or when we not on tour, since we all live in Atlanta, I would go to the spin class. I forget his name, but the trap spin. Yeah. Started in a community center in Atlanta, and I was going to his early classes. Me and this girl named Ashley, she sang background for Janelle, and so it would just be things like that. Like, we would keep each other accountable, and then, I liken touring to a sport. And Jeff actually taught me that, because you have to condition yourself. You have to have a certain mind. Everybody can't tour.
Right, I can only imagine.
You gotta have a certain mindset. So it kind of goes hand in hand. Like, you gotta make sure your body is good. If you want to tour, you gotta make sure you're able to tour.
Right. So what are just some things you do other than having fun, of course, while you're touring? What are some things you do to like take care of your mind and make sure you're recovering?
I take advantage of my off days. Okay. And, like, if people want to hang out, I see y'all every day.
Okay. So no, you use the power of no, for real.
It's a complete sentence.
Period.
And I'm an introvert, so I have to recharge. Like I can't. Y'all not gonna like me if I don't have some alone time.
Right.
So I learned that early on too. So I'm like, okay, let me on these off days. That's what that will be.
Right.
When I have an off day, or even just get my mind right before a show. I'll find some time by myself to just kind of I'll meditate and do what I need to do. Be like, okay, it's game time.
Yeah.
And lately when I have really gotten serious about it, I'm waking up because I'm not a morning person.
Okay.
But look at my schedule for the day, and okay, I'm gonna work out at this time, or I can work out. Okay, I'm gonna go load in and come back and work out, or I'll make it a priority. Like I gotta go to the gym.
Yeah.
You just have to. That's because I made my mind up there.
To prioritize it. So how do you navigate like touring now? And I want to talk about you working at Berkeley, and how do you do that and at the same time? And how do you thrive in that? Like seriously.
Well, the first semester I taught at Berkeley, I was like, oh my God, I'm horrible at this.
And what are you teaching?
I authored a class of live mixing. Me and my friend DJ, who
we started with the church.
Yes,
right.
We were classmates. Went to school together.
Okay.
He went to SAE. We authored a course on live mixing for concerts, basically. And so we alternate on teaching a class each semester. And so I taught the first semester because initially they approached me to do it. So I wanted to make sure I was the forefront, the first face that the students saw, and was the one who taught it first.
Okay.
And so I felt like I did horribly because I was on tour. And I thought being on tour would help. But you have to do at least 1 hour of live class, and I just couldn't figure out how to work it in, along with dealing with imposter syndrome and feeling like, I can't, basically. And so it was just, the students and my course developer was like, you did fine, just do the classes.
Right.
But it's been a success, it's just finding a balance. And I found that when I started doing my live classes on day of shows. So I'm like, I'm just gonna log in, show them the stage while I build or do, load in or something. They would love that. And they did. And by that time, my classes would be 2.5 hours. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'm finding.
Pace.
And I'm still working. I'm still able to do my line check and my sound checks and things like that. So I just end up finding a good balance with it.
That's a beautiful experience for them, I'm sure. So I want to kind of ask you this question, then I want to wrap things up here. You chose to stay in Memphis after all of this success. How did you come to that? And like, how did you say, I've been all around the world, I've had these experiences, I lived in Atlanta, Chicago, LA. Being here in Memphis, like, how did you come to terms with, okay, this is what I want to be?
Honestly, it was the when I came home for the pandemic. I noticed just my parents getting older. I was like, oh, okay. Let me think about this. And I was like, okay, I'm at a point in my career where I can be in Memphis. So maybe I'll be bi-coastal. I'll go to LA for a month or two, make sure, I stay connected there, and come home.
Wow.
I mean, and touring is touring. I'm going to tour anyway.
Yeah.
So I did that maybe twice, the whole going there for a month thing. And I think in 2021 where I was like, okay, let me just give me an apartment. I'm based in Memphis.
Right.
If somebody wants me, they'll find me out. That's just what it is. And if they have a problem with finding me out from Memphis, I don't need to work with them.
Right.
And I just prayed a prayer. I'm like, God, just put me where I'm supposed to be.
Wow.
Wherever I'm supposed, whatever client I'm supposed to have, I don't want no headaches.
Wow, yeah. You manifesting what you want.
I want it to be fun because it wasn't fun anymore because of certain artists that I work with, certain things that were happening. So it's like I don't want that. You know, like I like what I do, and I want to continue to like it.
Yeah.
You know, so I just like God, you'll send who I need. And he did.
Awesome. So what tips and advice would you give to your younger self or someone who is interested in a career in music, whatever it may be? What would you generally tell them?
Don't box yourself in. There is so many things to do in the music entertainment industry. Like it is, I mean, the sky is not the limit. It is you would never know. You know, as far as specifically audio, you know, there are people, you got TV shows, you have Dance with the Stars, you have The Voice, you have American Idol, all this stuff. Like, all these music shows need people.
To do the production. Yeah.
You know, there is the news.
Yeah.
It's sports.
Wow.
You know, it's just so many. Don't box yourself.
Nice. I love that. And where can we find you? Where can we learn about you? And what products or services or anything you want to present to the people? You can say it right here.
I only have one social media.
Okay.
It is Instagram. It's the Amanda Renee, THEE, Amanda Renee with 2 E's. My website is ardprod.com, ARDPROD.com. Everything's there. Interviews, different things I've worked on, different venues I've done.
Awesome.
All that's there. Yeah. I don't post a lot, but that's when I turned 38. I was like, okay, let me be better about this.
Yeah.
You know, I can toot my horn a little bit.
Yes.
You know, and face a fear of, putting mixes online or, things I've done. So I'm doing that a little bit more.
Yes, that is amazing. It has been such a great time. Yes, catching up with you because I want to just showcase the fact that, hey, it's a lot of greatness that come from Memphis, that's still in Memphis.
People love Memphis, too, all over the world.
I'm sure. Yeah, Memphis. And it's just been a pleasure of just getting to know more detail and more depth about you because you have an amazing life.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, I wanted for you to follow myself and the Thrive Tribe podcast at Thrive Tribe Podcast with Jarvis Hall on all streaming podcast platforms, YouTube, Thrive Tribe Podcast with Jarvis Hall. You can follow my personal Instagram at Real Elite Fitness Co. and then Thrive Tribe Pod on Instagram. So thank y'all and stay tuned for another episode.